Hi, I'm John Barber, Editor-in-Chief at IDW Publishing, and welcome to Barber's Shop. Flashback to autumn, 1989, which is a terrifyingly long time ago. Young me was a big comic book fan, and, well, that was the right time to be one. That summer was pretty bananas when it came to movies, though it was a comic book movie that really dominated. Batman was everywhere. I mean, I can't express the reality of what that summer looked like, how inescapable Batman was, and how many comic book stores sprung up seemingly overnight. This is also the precipice of the 1990s, of the original Image artists. The next year would bring us McFarlane's Spider-Man #1, and the following summer would be X-Force and X-Men. So, right in the middle of all that, autumn of 1989, DC made a concerted push to bring eyes onto a comic book that was good, that was getting critical acclaim, that they believed in, but that wasn't Batman and wasn't X-Men and wasn't exactly blowing up. And young Johnny hears about this comic and decides to give it a spin, and it was immediately and irrevocably pulled into the world of Neil Gaiman's Sandman. Sandman creators Gaiman, Sam Keith, and Mike Dringenberg told an enthralling mix of horror and dark fantasy. Those early issues bounced between the types of stories told, and I guess there was a little bit going on of foot finding, but really that was the foundation of the entire series. Every story would change in style and tone, and explore the nature of story, while the imagination on display from Gaiman and his talented collaborators made it all breathtaking and enjoyable. And I wasn't alone in finding that comic. As you may have heard, Sandman did not struggle for long. One could maybe say that Sandman caught on. Sandman was one of the first comic book series, certainly the first from a big publisher, that remained in print in its entirety from then on. This was a monumental change to the way comic books had been viewed and created. Now fast forward to 2008, a still youngish IDW Publishing, and Joe Hill and Gabriel Rodriguez bring into being Locke and Key. With J Photos on colors, they tell the story of the Locke family returning to the ancestral home of their murdered father and uncovering a world of mysteries and powerful magical keys that grant the users incredible abilities. The story of Tyler, Kinsey, and Bodhi Locke crossed generations and implied an even larger mythology, one that Joe and Gabe explored throughout the run. But last year, as you may remember me rambling here at length about, they, and we at IDW, launched Locke and Key in Pale Battalions Go, a story set during World War I, starring a chronologically earlier Locke family. I loved Pale Battalions. I loved that it felt like the Locke and Key I'd been reading for so many years, but it felt new and different. There was that same feeling I used to have when Neil Gaiman would start a new Sandman story. There was a whole new lexicon, new characters, a new genre, new setting. That was no coincidence, because Pale Battalions was leading to this. Locke and Key, the Sandman, Hell and Gone #1. There's no way to set this up without being a bit of a spoiler for Pale Battalions, so if you don't want to know, hold your ears for a second. At the outset of Hell and Gone, young Jonathan Locke has been dead for 10 years, condemned to hell, a fact that tortures his father. Jonathan's sister, Mary Locke, has a lead, a possibility. One Roderick Burgess, the so-called wickedest man in England, is purported to have a powerful entity in his control, one that could free Jonathan Locke's soul from eternal torment. It's 1927, and that entity is Dream of the Endless, captured just as we saw in Sandman #1 back in 1989. And even the unbelievable things Mary's experienced in Key House can't have prepared her for what's to come in the dreaming. I'm always a bit wary when two things I love come together, but I'm really pleased to be able to honestly say I loved Hell and Gone #1. I loved the journey it took me on, seeing the world of Sandman, something that's been part of my life for 30 years, through the eyes of Mary Locke, and through the eyes of Joe Hill and Gabe Rodriguez, made it all fresh again, and opened up new facets I'd never thought about. And it sets Mary down a harrowing path, one that I genuinely don't know where it leads. Like the best of both Locke and Key and Sandman, Hell and Gone is an epic operatic tale told on a personal, emotional level. It's about family, the Locke family and the Endless, about what one sister would do for her family and what's been done to one brother from a very different family. Joe's writing is sharper and crisper than ever, and Gabe, well, like every new issue of Locke and Key, somehow this is his best one yet. I thought he'd reached as good as anybody can get a while back, but, well, I guess not. The pages with Dream are just stunning. From the writing to the layouts to the design of the world to the incredible rendering by Gabe and to J Photos' astounding colors, I don't think you'll find a better looking comic this year. And all that visual panache is there for the story, because that's what this is. That's what the building blocks of Key House and the Dreaming are. It's story, the stuff dreams are made of. Locke and Key, The Sandman, Hell and Gone #1, published by IDW and our friends at DC Comics, lettered by Sean Lee, edited by Chris's Ryle and Conroy, is on sale now. So visit the IDW website or your local comic book store and check it out. And as always, let's use this time to connect and keep the IDW community active. It's all for this week. Remember, you can keep up with IDW on social media and check back here every week for news and updates. Thanks for watching.